Hi guys, Christina C. Jones here. I am back today to do another backlist video, and the reason that is so amusing to me is because that is not what was on my agenda today. What was on my agenda for today was a redo of my, being productive during hard times video, whatever, where I was like, girl, if you don't sit down somewhere and rest, and I've come away from that place. But if ain't no future in front, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling it today. And that's not to say that I'm in a bad mood or anything like that, but I just know that, over the weekend I kind of had a hard time and I struggled a little bit. And so I don't feel right, coming on here, being all super duper hype, being all super sunny and all of that, trying to encourage you guys to do something that I have not quite mastered myself. And don't get me wrong, I'm not feeling any type of way about not having mastered that. I'm trying to give myself space to feel, to feel whatever it is that I'm feeling. Again, I just don't feel right, getting on here and being like, make sure you get plenty of vitamin D and drink plenty of water, even though you should do both of those things. I just don't feel right presenting myself as if, I've got it down, and I don't. And so instead of that, we're going to do a backlist video, but please don't feel like you're getting like sloppy seconds or anything like that, because we're talking about some of my favorites. These siblings, the Love siblings. Oh my goodness. I love these books. I love these sisters. And it's crazy because for I Think I Might Love You, this book went through so many different iterations, so many different versions before we got to the version that you guys, would recognize as I Think I Might Love You. Like I said, went through a whole lot of versions, and then once I finally did find a version that I was happy with, once I finally, was able to get the story out in a way that really felt good for them, this is going to be a major spoiler if you have not read this book, but the major kind of plot point of the beginning of the book is Jacqueline going into this apartment that she believes to be her sister's, or going where she believes her sister to be. She's thinking that she can crash, she's just gone through she's just gone through something tough, and she's just looking for a place to crash. She goes to her sister's apartment. But she's in Caden's apartment. She's in my hero's apartment, which, very funny, the way that it's set up and all of that, very funny, blah, 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 blah. But when I initially wrote that, when I initially did that, very shortly after the Botham Jean case happened in Dallas, which I'm sure that I don't have to rehash that. It was a big thing. Another wrongful death at the hands of a police officer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And just because of the details of that case, even thinking about, what the premise was, what the opening premise was for this book, it really just kind of made me sick. Like, I just honestly could not stomach it, and I pushed it to the side and I did something else. And then after about a year had passed, I was able to come back to this, and I was still a little uncomfortable. Just honestly, I was still a little uncomfortable, but I was able to, push through that and able to go ahead and deliver the story. And I do think that it was still able to, hit those right comedic notes. Baby, I love me some Jacqueline Love. Listen. This one right here, she says what she is thinking, and she does not have much of a filter. And something that I love so much about this book is the fact that for as much as Jacqueline gives in the way of, giving Caden grief and, giving him the comedy and the sassy mouth, Caden gives it right back to her. Like, he does not shy or shrink away. He's not afraid of that. Like, he gives her that exact same energy back. And I just love that so much about them. And I cannot remember, I've been trying. I probably should have just shot her a text so I could ask, but I cannot remember for the life of me where we were. But I remember traveling for an event. Phyllis Bourne was in attendance at that event too. We were in Chicago. Boom. Finally remember we were in Chicago, but we ended up going to lunch. We ended up going to lunch, and while we were there, I was telling her some of the jokes and everything that I wanted to layer into this project. And she thought they were funny. And if you've not read Phyllis Bourne, first of all, like, you need to correct that. But if you have read Phyllis Bourne, you know that she's like the queen of comedy. And so getting that cosign from her, like the queen of romantic comedy thinks that my stuff is funny, like, oh, we gonna get these jokes off because I'm a very, like, I can be a very goofy person, and I laugh at like a lot. I laugh at a whole lot of like super corny stuff. And so it's always it's always kind of a question for me whether or not this stuff is actually going to be funny to anybody besides me. And so, like I said, just to get that cosign was just it was just like heavens opening up, angels singing, all of that. And so I was really, really excited about that, and I was able to, really just kind of pull it all together for them. And I don't know, I love them. I love them a lot. And then we came to sister number 2. We get to Joya, and it's crazy because between, like, after I wrote book 1, I was getting ready to start book 2, and something that I'm not even going to go into the details of happened, and it really just kind of shook my confidence as a writer. It shook like, there was a question of my integrity, like, just to say it without going into it, without completely going into it. There was a question of my integrity, and that really messed with me, because that is something that I take so seriously. Because early in my career, I had another author who, I'm not gonna, again, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but suffice it to say, like, that is a sore spot for me. Like, I try to make sure that everything that I do is above board. Anybody who, like, any of my peers, who I consider friends, who talk to me on a day-to-day basis, they know what goes into writing for me. They know, the second guessing and the detail and the research and the thinking and the overthinking that goes into writing for me. And I had already put out I Think I Might Love You. It got a really, really great response. And so I already have the pressure of trying to live up to the first book in my head. And then this happens. And it was just rough. It was rough. It was really, really rough. And so just the fact that I wrote this book at all, just the fact that Teddy and Joya came out at all, honey, like, that was like, that is a blessing in and of itself, because I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go into the details, because I really don't want to dwell on it. But it, like I said, it just really, really bothered me, and so I ended up putting it, kind of similar, something kind of vaguely similar, opens the book. And initially I was like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete that, because, writing it out as if it was something that the character was experiencing, which is crazy, because I had actually seen other influencers who not necessarily like Joya, but I'd seen, like, I follow other makeup influencers, beauty influencers, whatever, and I'd seen them go through things like this. And so it's not like it would be far-fetched for her to go through something like that. But this is one of those times where I put myself into this book. But I was like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to delete that. It doesn't really add anything to the beginning of the story, but it's like, as I wrote on, it was like, no, it fits, like, that she would be in this place, and these are just the day-to-day things that she kind of goes through, and things that happen with her. And I keep looking at this smiling picture of of the model that I use, or the stock photo model that I use for Teddy, and I just keep thinking about Teddy, and the barbecue scene, which, if you've not read these yet, that doesn't mean anything to you, but if you're planning on reading them, just know the barbecue scene. Like, when I see this picture, that's the first thing that instantly comes to mind for me. But it was really, really just fun writing their story, and there's everything that I want to say, or a lot of what I want to say about this book, is like a major spoiler. So I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try to just let that be. But just suffice it to say that it was a struggle to get this book out, you know, just honestly, it was a struggle to get this one out. And I like to think that because I struggle with it so much, just, you know, with the getting started part, once it was started, I was Gucci once it was started, but it was just getting there that really kind of, you know, that really kind of took a lot out of me. And I like to think that it made for a better book maybe than it would have been. Not to say that it would have been bad, but I feel like it made it better, even though like I kind of got my back kicked in a little bit for the way that this book ends. But I don't know that it's necessarily like super clear that everything that I write usually only takes place over a couple of months out of these characters' lives, if that long. And so it really just wasn't, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to defend it. It's just whatever. I'm not going to defend it. I loved it. I wrote the book that I wanted to write, and it just is what it is. And then we have, oh, Gemma and Levi. Oh, Gemma and her hoeing, to put it to just put it simply. But it's a word that she would use. I'm not disparaging her or anyone like her at all. You know, it's just the fact of the matter that is, you know, that is who she is. It's part of the fabric of Gemma, that she is going to enjoy herself. She loves to travel. She enjoys men. She enjoys food. She enjoys, you know, writing. And these are just the things that make her her. And she does those things unapologetically. And I had some weird stuff happen. I don't know what it was, but I had, like, in the process of putting these books out, there was just a lot of weird stuff. Like the weekend that I put this book out the weekend of Indie Love. And I had, again, not going to go into the details of that, but I was just, you know, I was really blown away, honestly, by Gemma and Levi's story, because it is not a traditional happily ever after. Honestly, it's not even a traditional happily for now, but it fits them. It works for them. And even going back to it, like, I feel like I did my job when it comes to doing these characters justice and telling the story that they, you know, that they present to me, and not altering that for the sake of, well, you know, to me it has to do this, or to the readers it has to do this, or to follow romance convention it has to do this. No, like, I just let each of these stories, I let it be what it was, and what it was beautiful to me. I can't speak for, you know, I can't, there's reviews, you know what I mean, all of them have plenty of reviews, you know, if you have not read these, but I look at these and I'm very proud of them, not just for the fact that, you know, that I feel like they're solid, you know, that they're solid representations of what I can do, but the fact that I think these mark the first time that I wrote a series and finished it, like, all at once. Like, I put out the first book and I did not put anything else in between. I put out the second book and there was not anything else between. And then I put out the third book and it was good. It was done. And I had a complete series back to back to back to back. Wait, back to back to back. Okay, there we go. That's better. But I don't know. I'm really proud of these books. If you have not read this series before, get ready to laugh. I don't know about any crying, but definitely be ready to laugh, especially with the first book. That's another thing that I was really proud of for myself with this series. I mean, hey, it's my YouTube channel. May as well big up myself. But I was just really happy with the way that each of these books follows that sister's distinctive personality. Like, Jacqueline is funny, like, that's who she is, and so her book is the funny book. Like, out of the three, her book is the funny book. Joya has her own distinct personality. Gemma has her own distinct personality. You know, for Joya, hers was more about, you know, kind of a a shift. Hers was more about not, I don't, coming of age isn't the right way to phrase it. I can't think of the right phrasing, but hers was more about, you know, coming into her own, letting go of some of the things that she believed, and being willing to accept someone else into her life, even though she was used to being, you know, just this really solitary person. Gemma's was more was more of an erotica. There's definitely the most, you know, intense in Gemma's books, the most intense of the scenes that happen with through this series. She gets them all because that's just more of what is involved in her life. And I don't know. I'm just really happy. Just thinking about these books makes me really, really happy. But anyway, if you haven't read them, they are all available in ebook format. They're also available on Audible format. All 3 books are out now, all on Audible. And really, really soon, like within the next week or so, I'm waiting on some packaging and stuff to come in before I open it up. But I'm going to be doing a paperback sale. And so if you want signed copies of these in paperback, you'll be able to order those there as well. But I have gushed enough about these, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this go. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can if you feel so inclined, hit the subscribe button, the like button, all that good stuff. But until next time, bye.